We are staying in new construction but leaving townhomes behind. Let's look at new construction single-family homes in Kapolei.
Let me open with a number that surprises almost everyone because this is a market update as much as it is a home tour. Over the past year, the typical single-family home in Kapolei on Oahu's west side did not go up. It went down about 15% to a median right around $850,000. But the newly built single-family homes right here at Ka'ulu did the opposite. They climbed to a median around $974,000. So in the same town, in the same year, older single-family resale softened, while new construction pulled ahead. That gap is the whole story of this video, and by the end you'll understand exactly why it's happening and what it means for you. We're at Ka'ulu by Gentry in Kapolei, and this is the model called Aukai. It's the entry point into single-family living here, a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath, 2-car garage home of about 1,500 square feet, and it starts right around $967,000. I'm going to keep the walkthrough of the house itself light, because the finishes are on your screen, you can see them. What you can't see, and what actually decides whether this is a smart buy is the data. So let's spend our time there. Here are the 3 numbers to anchor on, all single family, all a 12-month view. Across all of Oahu, the median single-family home is about $1.14 million, and it's up around 3.5%. Older Kapolei, as I said, is about $850,000, and it's down almost 15%. And Kaulu, this community, is about $974,000, up slightly. So Aukai, at around $967,000, is sitting right at the Kaulu median, roughly $117,000 above the older Kapolei number, and about $170,000 below the island-wide median. You are buying a newly built single-family home on Oahu for well under the island's median single-family price. That does not happen often, and the island number is not soft. It's up about 3.5% on the year. So Oahu single-family overall is still climbing. That's what makes this interesting. You've got a rising island market at $1.14 million, an older Kapolei resale market that pulled back to $850,000. And new construction threading right between them at $974,000. Ka'ulu is essentially island quality new construction, priced below the island median in a town where the older stock got cheaper. For a value-focused buyer, that's a specific and unusual window. Now let me be careful and honest about that Kapolei minus 15% figure, because a number like that can mislead you if you don't unpack it. A median is just the middle of everything that's sold, and older Kapolei covers a huge mix. Small homes, big homes, some leasehold, some that needed work. When that mix shifts towards smaller or more dated homes, the median falls even if no single house lost 15% of its value. So I'm not telling you Kapolei homes are crashing. I'm telling you the older resale market softened and got choppier, while new construction stayed firm. And that divergence is the thing to understand, because it changes how you shop. Let me show you why new is holding up, using the demand data, and this is the part that should get your attention. At Ka'ulu, single-family homes are selling in about 15 days. A year ago, that number was 3 times higher. Months of supply, which is how long it would take to sell everything available at the current pace, is around half a month. Under 3 months is considered a seller's market, and this is a fraction of that. Closings here are up 175% year over year, and every one of them is going at essentially 100% of list price. Put simply, these homes list and they're gone, at full price almost immediately. Compare that to older Kapolei, where single-family homes are now averaging around 26 days and climbing, with more inventory sitting. So the demand is not spread evenly across the town. It is concentrated hard on the new construction. That's why the 2 price lines are pulling apart. Now let's talk about what you're actually paying per square foot, because that reframes the whole comparison. Island-wide, single-family runs about $701 a foot. Older Kapolei is about $577, and Ka'ulu is around $616. So new construction here costs you roughly $40 a foot more than an older Kapolei home. but about $85 a foot less than the island median. You're paying a premium over old and a discount to the island. And here's a wrinkle specific to Aukai. Because it's the smallest of the three models here, it actually carries the highest price per foot of the three, right around $640. And here's the whole ladder, so you can see it at a glance. The three single-family models here run about $967,000 for this one, Aukai, the smallest at 1,500 square feet. The middle-sized one lands around $976,000, and the largest floor plan tops out around $988,000. So the entire spread from the smallest home to the biggest is only about $21,000. Think about that. For roughly 20 grand, less than 2%, you can move from the smallest plan to the largest. By the foot, that means the biggest home is actually the better deal, around $620 a foot, versus about $640 here. When homes are priced this close together, the smart move is often to buy the most usable square footage you can. And I'll dig into exactly that when we tour the biggest model next. That sounds backwards until you understand it. A house has fixed costs: the kitchen, the two-car garage, the systems, the roof, and when you spread those over fewer square feet, the price per foot goes up. So the entry model is the cheapest total price, but not the cheapest by the foot. When we get to the biggest model in a later video, you'll see the per foot number actually drop. That's a real lesson in how to read a home. And it's the kind of thing I want you making decisions with. Now, the comparison I get asked about most: how does this stack up against the Ka'ulu townhomes? The townhomes here have a median around $716,000. Aukai, the entry single family, is around $967,000. So you're paying roughly $250,000 more to step from a townhome into this. That is a real number, and I'm not going to wave it away. What does that $250,000 buy you? A detached home, no shared walls with a neighbor, your own lot, and a two-car garage instead of one. Whether that's worth it is your call, not mine. And for a lot of buyers it isn't. The townhome is the smarter fit. But if a standalone home and covered parking for two cars is the thing you can't compromise on, this is the entry price to get it new in Kapolei. And there's a group this entry price matters to more than most: first-time buyers and military families relocating here. A detached, new single family under $1 million in a town with a new rail station, shopping, and schools going in is not easy to find on this island. If you're using a VA loan, you can finance it with nothing down and pair it with your housing allowance, which makes the monthly on a home like this more reachable than the sticker suggests. I won't pretend $967,000 is cheap, it isn't, but relative to a new detached home anywhere else on Oahu, it's one of the more attainable doors into single-family ownership out here. Let me clear up exactly what you own here, because the term confuses people and it matters. These are what's called CPR, zero lot line, detached single-family homes. In plain English, it's a real standalone house, your own front and back, and it's fee simple, so you own the land under it. The zero lot line part just means the lot is compact, roughly 2,300 to 2,600 square feet, a bit over a 20th of an acre, and the house sits close to the edges to make the most of it. So set your expectations correctly. This is a true single-family home, but it is not a big lot property. You're trading yard size for a new detached home at a price that gets you in the door. For a lot of West Side buyers, especially anyone who's been priced out of older, bigger lot neighborhoods, that trade is exactly the point. If any of this is landing for you and you want to know what's actually available right now versus what's coming in the next release, reach out. The link is in the description and I'll walk you through the current numbers on any model, whether you're here on island or watching from the mainland. Property taxes on Oahu are low compared to the mainland. On a home around $967,000, as your primary residence with the home exemption, you're looking at roughly $3,000 to $4,000 a year. Just know that if you don't live in it as your primary, the rules and the rate change. So verify your situation. And then there's the quiet savings of new construction, which matter a lot in Hawaii, where electricity is the most expensive in the country. Everything here is new and efficient, the appliances, the systems, the whole home. So you're not inheriting an aging air conditioner or roof with 10 years left. That shows up on your bill every month, and it's a real part of the true cost of ownership that the price tag never shows. Every model here shows well. The decision is about the data and the fit, which is where we've spent our time. Let me bring it back to the numbers that matter, because I want you to leave with a clear picture. Aukai is the lowest priced single-family home at Koulu, right around $967,000. It sits at the community's median, well below the island's median single-family price. New construction here is selling in about 15 days at full price with half a month of supply, while older Kapolei resale has softened about 15%, and prices here have been climbing with each release. The earlier Aukai homes closed for around $948,000. The more recent ones closer to $952,000, and the newest release is priced right around $967,000. That is the pattern. Each phase tends to open a little higher than the last. So the entry price you're looking at today is very likely the lowest entry price this model will have. That's not pressure, it's just what the data says. And it's the strongest argument there is for figuring out early whether single family here is right for you. One more data point that puts the pricing in context. Within Koulu, the earlier, larger single-family homes, the ones on slightly bigger lots, have sold for as much as $1.05 to $1.1 million. So there's real headroom above these current models. As the community matures and those bigger homes trade, the top of Koulu is already pushing past $1 million, while this entry model is still under $970. That tells you where the ceiling is, and it suggests the entry homes have room to move toward it over time. So here's my honest read, as your agent and not a salesperson. If you want a detached home with a 2-car garage, newly built, and you're comfortable with a compact lot, Aukai is the most attainable way to get it, and the market is telling us other buyers agree, loudly and fast. If a bigger yard or a lower price matters more, a townhome here or an older resale might serve you better. My job is to lay out the real numbers so you decide. And the numbers on this one are really strong. If you're moving to Oahu, relocating for the military, or just watching the west side from a distance, reach out and I'll keep you posted on the next single-family release, the pricing and the timing so you're ready instead of scrambling. In the next video, we'll stay right here in Koulu and look at the model with the biggest floor plan of the three. And I'll show you why the largest home is actually one of the better values by the square foot. After that, the model with the upgraded finishes that's already under contract and what its speed tells us about this market. And then we'll leave the west side entirely and head to central Oahu, so you can compare. If this data first breakdown is useful to you, tell me in the comments, because this is the kind of video I want to make more of. I am Oksana with Island Living Oahu. Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.